Welcome back. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating explainer, exploring a massive idea about the future of global governance based on a really impactful text. We're going to unpack a comprehensive vision that argues for a total paradigm shift in how our world actually operates. We'll be looking at this entirely through the lens of the author's arguments, breaking down some incredibly complex and thought-provoking ideas. So let's kick things off with a massive question, one that sits right at the heart of today's analysis. Does our currently fractured world desperately need a completely different kind of globalization? I mean, look around, right? We see deep divisions, exploitation, and systems that often seem to prioritize raw power over actual people. Well, the author of our source text gives a resounding yes to this question, arguing that our current global framework is fundamentally broken and demands a radical alternative. The source material we're unpacking today is an extensive book called The Shift from Modern Enslavement to the Globalization of Islam by Ibrahim Abdullah Salkini. It lays out a really bold vision. It argues that the world is and absolutely must transition away from systems of modern enslavement, moving instead toward a comprehensive system of Islamic globalization. To understand how the author justifies this massive claim, we first have to look at how he diagnoses the world's current illness. To see where the author is coming from, we start with Part 1, Crises of Modern Globalization. The text doesn't pull any punches here. It points out that modern struggles for global influence have literally resulted in horrifying human massacres all over the map. We're talking Rwanda, Burundi, Bosnia, Chechnya, Iraq, Syria, Burma. The author argues these aren't just random isolated tragedies. Rather, the source asserts they are the direct byproduct of a global system completely obsessed with domination, where superpowers clash over resources, leaving millions of innocent humans to pay the ultimate price. And it doesn't stop at the human cost. The author extends this critique, arguing that this current system is actively destroying the environment through unchecked exploitation. The text highlights how modern capitalist frameworks treat the earth like, well, just a giant vending machine, a resource to be endlessly consumed, leading to severe environmental degradation. The author frames this as a global injustice, where the endless pursuit of profit results in the devastating pollution of the exact planet that sustains us. Which brings us directly to Part 2, the Islamic concept of globalization. Now, this is where the source draws a really fascinating contrast. The author defines current globalization entirely in terms of dominance, control, and enslavement, a system where the strong just exploit the weak. But Islamic globalization? He defines that not as a mechanism of control, but as a system built on universal communication and, most importantly, universal mercy. It's a complete 180 on what a globalized world should actually look like. To back this up, the author grounds the argument in a foundational Islamic text, quoting the Quranic verse, "We sent you not, but as a mercy for all creatures." The text emphasizes a really crucial theological point here. This mercy is explicitly not just for humans. The Arabic word used, al-amin, encompasses all realms of existence. The author argues that this kind of comprehensive mercy is the exact antidote to the destruction caused by modern exploitation. So how does that actually work in practice? Let's look at Part 3, a mercy for all realms. According to the text, the world desperately needs this exact system because it just as comprehensively protects 5 distinct realms. So it's not just about saving humans from the massacres we talked about earlier. This system extends its protective umbrella to the unseen realm of the jinn, the animal kingdom, plant life, and even the inanimate environment itself. The author's whole point is that only a system that legally and morally protects all 5 of these realms can actually save the world from capitalist destruction. To show just how deeply embedded this idea is, the author shares this incredible anecdote from Islamic tradition. The Prophet actually intervened to help a starving, exhausted camel, seriously reprimanding its owner for overworking the animal. The text uses this to demonstrate that animal rights aren't just some modern, secondary thought. They are a fundamental pillar here. It highlights a direct, compassionate responsibility between humanity and the animal realm. And these protections go way beyond just a single camel. The text outlines how this universal mercy mandates strict environmental laws. It forbids unjust deforestation, requires humane practices in animal slaughter, and get this, it even encourages the planting of trees right up until the literal end of the world. Fascinatingly, the author also notes specific hygiene rules designed to respect the unseen realm of the jinn, proving that no realm is left out of this framework. The author even extends this concept of mercy to the environment itself. The source describes inanimate objects, the heavens, the earth, the mountains, not as dead resources to be mined, but as living entities in constant communication and praise of their creator. So naturally, they also require our absolute respect and mercy. It is a completely different paradigm from the extraction-based view of modern economics. All right, moving from theory into reality, we arrive at Part 4, Signs and Inevitability of Transition. The author points to some hard demographic data to back up this claim, noting the rapid growth of the global Muslim population. It's projected to eventually encompass a full third of humanity. The source attributes this steady expansion to a combination of high birth rates, sure, but also a continuous influx of new converts all around the globe. But, as the text argues, demographics alone don't tell the whole story. The source points to distinct cultural and political signs that this paradigm shift is incoming. We're talking about the notable embrace of Islam by Western intellectuals and politicians, the huge integration of Islamic banking right within Western economic systems, and the sheer, unbreakable resilience of occupied populations who refuse to be broken by far superior military forces. Finally, the author gives us a roadmap in Part 5, the role of the individual and society. So, what's the call to action? The text urges the creation of independent, global institutions dedicated to Islamic thought. It calls for specialized media channels broadcasting in multiple languages to counter negative narratives. But most importantly, it urges individuals, no matter where they live in the East or West, to step out of the shadows and fearlessly act as visible, proud beacons of this comprehensive message of mercy. To wrap up today's explainer, based on the author's compelling vision of a world that desperately needs saving from human massacres and environmental ruin, we're left with a really profound thought. If this paradigm shift from exploitation to a system of comprehensive, multi-realm justice is truly on the horizon, we have to ask ourselves, are we ready to understand it? And are you prepared to be part of this transition toward universal mercy? Thanks for joining me to unpack this, and I'll catch you in the next one.